Hey everybody, welcome to TIW Podcast. I'm Eric, and today I watched Survivor, Season 40, Winners at War, Episode 13. Spoilers ahoy if you haven't seen this episode yet and don't want to find out what happens, especially because it's a 2-hour episode with 2 immunity challenges and 2 tribal councils. Then stop listening now and go watch the episode. It's another really good one. I really like the challenges in this one. Jeremy, he gives Michelle the 50-50 coin back when they get back from tribal council because he didn't use it. Denise makes a little sign that says endure and let go, which is her like mantra, motto, whatever, for these last few days going forward. Then there's a funny conversation argument between Jeremy and Tony about how many weeks is 9 days, and Jeremy's it's a week. It's just over a week, and Tony's like that's 2 weeks. It's like it's 2 work weeks. Like we don't have weekends. What are you talking about? It's not 2 weeks. Like okay, whatever. Sarah tries to convince Ben to vote Nick out next. And we get this cops arrest conversation about this season being a tiebreaker between the two of them. And then Ben is successfully convinced by Sarah because he thinks it's his idea. He's like, what if we blindside Nick when he goes to talk to Tony? But really, it's Tony and Sarah's idea to begin with to convince Ben otherwise. But a wrench gets thrown in the works because the immunity challenge, which involved a ball obstacle thing, they had to go through an obstacle while a ball above them rolled and then catch the ball. Had to do that twice and then do a slide puzzle. Nick wins this challenge and he has immunity. So they have to figure out a whole different plan. Also, Michelle is devastated at this after this challenge because she couldn't get the ball over to catch it once. She almost caught it. She did catch it, but she dropped it, and that was the closest she got to success on this. Everybody else got to the slide puzzle, and also great strategy. Both Ben and Tony. I feel like Tony copied Ben, like dive kicked into the sand because they had to dig sand out to go underneath a bar and put the balls under there, and that's a great use that momentum you already have to burst out some of the sand while you're running to it. So I thought that was a good strategy there. I think we're going to see it a lot more in later seasons. Denise is the target, but Jeremy is very suspicious of that, and so he wants the target on Ben. Then they all decide that they're going to split the vote between Jeremy and Michelle. So the 5 who are together put 3 votes on Jeremy, 2 on Michelle. And that makes Nick the swing vote because he's part of that 3. He could switch his vote out Michelle. He doesn't want to do that. He could switch his vote to vote out Ben. So that seems like the most likely situation. But during tribal council, there's a lot of talk about trust after the game, trusting people in real life and all that. And that's a really interesting thing. I don't think they've talked about that on the show before. So that was really interesting. There is no chaos. Everybody goes to vote. Michelle, it's the last time that she can use the 50-50 token, the 50-50 coin. She decides to play it for herself despite Jeremy's very... what is the word I'm looking for? I don't know. He was pleading with her with his eyes. It's like smizing, but begging and pleading, but just with his eyes. It was not effective because Michelle played it for herself. She was safe. She flipped safe. All the votes against her, no good. She only got 2 votes, so she would have been fine anyway. But if she had played it for Jeremy, she would have saved Jeremy and herself. Or not. It would have been... She would have been voted out anyway. Yes. That's what I figured out. That's what I figured out. Ben would have been safe because everybody flipped and voted for Michelle instead. Something fell off of a table or something behind me. But yeah, so I think she made the best play for herself, because if she had played for Jeremy, Jeremy would have been saved, yes, but they would have had to revote because it's tied between Ben and Michelle. All three of those votes for Jeremy, maybe not all three, but it's pretty strong chance that those votes, at least two of those votes, were going to go to Michelle and not to Ben. But maybe not. We'll never know. But Michelle's still in the game. She lives another day. And Tony decides that Michelle's a hyena. She needs to go. She's the next target. Michelle's mad at Nick for not telling her about what was going on. And they say, get together. Let's fix this. Let's do something. Michelle pitches to Sarah that Sarah can't beat Tony. Nobody can beat Tony. We should get him out. Over on the Edge of Extinction, Jeremy does not like this place immediately, which Natalie, I mean, she's been here the entire time, and she knows this island like the back of her hand, because they get a clue that says something about a throne of stone. She knows exactly what they're talking about. Wendell goes up to the top of the island, which is the wrong place to go. She goes off to the side of the beach. And Tyson talks about how she's become a part of the island, as like, oh, she's kind of like Hurley on Lost, or Jack, I guess, first, but Hurley's more likable. So the advantage that she finds is to place a disadvantage. It's the power to place a disadvantage on somebody else in the challenge of the person's choosing who buys this advantage. And she chooses to sell it to Nick because I think they have a good idea of how many tokens that they have, that everybody has, more or less. He has 6 tokens. She charges 8. That means that he needs to get help from Michelle to do so. And he does. She has 3 tokens because the 2 tokens that Jeremy had, he left to her, or bequeathed to her, etc. So he places this disadvantage on Ben. Ben does not know that he did this, and it's very effective. This is a great play by Michelle to help Nick out, because ultimately she benefited the most, because we have this immunity challenge where they have a bar, a wood slab across with a whole increasingly intricate lattice of wood around it, to balance a bunch of blocks on, that would then be knocked over like dominoes to hit a gong at the end of this construction. And the disadvantage is that Ben has 30% more blocks to place than everybody else, and he almost wins, which is he's really good at challenges, which is pretty annoying. Michelle wins, which I thought was pretty great. I thought it was a great kind of redemption from the previous challenge. She didn't mention that being such a great thing about it. That would have been, I would have thought that would be the number one reason she was really happy about winning that, is that the contrast from the previous challenge. But also she really needed it because she was the next target. Absolutely. So everybody has to go to plan B again. Denise kind of fakes being resigned to being the next target. She's like, I want, if I go, then let's buy some rice. I'll buy some rice. We'll all eat. I'll have a full belly. It'd be great. Nick is the actual target, though. He proposes the fire making consideration to Ben. That, who was? I wrote that weird. I'm not sure what I meant by that in my notes, but Tony gets a bit suspicious. He goes up into his spy nest and he overhears a conversation between Denise, Sarah, and Ben, that Denise wants a final 3 with them, and Denise becomes Tony's target, or Denise's or Ben's target. I'm not sure, but it comes down between who's voting for Ben, who's voting for Denise, and Tony. Oh yeah, it is Ben's target. Tony and Sarah are the ones in the middle this time. They're the swing votes, and who they go with? Will they vote out Denise, or will they vote out Nick? They end up voting out Nick. Nick, it's 4 votes. Denise and Nick cast their votes. No, not Denise and Nick. Who voted for who? It was Denise. No. Yeah, Denise and Nick, they both voted for Ben, I think. No. What am I talking about? I'm not sure what I'm talking about. Who voted for Denise? Denise voted for Nick. Was it Nick and Ben who voted for I forget. Whatever it was, Tony and Sarah, they ended up siding with the 2 who voted for Nick. Nick did not have any tokens because he used them all. So Michelle came out great in this episode, even though it was really, it was a real roller coaster for her this over these 2 hours. But then we have like 15 minutes or so left after this, and it's all about Edge of Extinction. They go to see the last sunrise. Rob talks about how he bought an idol in the before the previous challenge, so that's still good. They get their message that it's time to battle. They all get prepared. People who have enough tokens to buy some stuff. Wendell, Yul, and Parvati, they buy an advantage for their return challenge. Natalie, she had 14 tokens. She already had 6, and this was before all the tokens that she spent on everything else. She got 8 from Nick and Michelle for that advantage that she sold them. And she had previously bought an idol, so she can't buy another one because she can only get back into the game with 1. And so she buys a second idol for Tyson after she bought 3 advantages in the return challenge. I don't know what that means exactly. What is the advantage? What are the 3 advantages? We'll find out next week because we don't see the challenge. We get a recap of the entire season going into it, which I thought was pretty cool. Although, I really wanted to see that challenge. But since it's very likely going to be the very first thing we see next week, it'll still be great. So Natalie is absolutely getting back into the game. Like, it would be crazy if she didn't. But she bought another idol. She gave it to Tyson. So that was pretty cool. Because I think, Tyson probably does have the biggest chance outside of Natalie. I'm not sure if Tyson has any tokens to get an advantage at this point. They didn't show him talking about it, but they did show him sharing peanut butter with Natalie, so that was kind of fun. Whoever gets back into the game, I don't want them to win. I want Sarah to win, so that's who I'm rooting for anyway. But I am doing pretty well. I'm in like second/third. I'm technically in second place on my fantasy league. I got a lot more points than I have in the last few weeks this week. I don't remember exactly how I voted on stuff, but it's I'm only a few I'm like 6 points behind first place. So if Sarah wins, I think I got this in the bag. But if not, it all comes down to who gets voted off. Who gets in the who is in the final 3 will determine most how many points I get in this final episode. So, and how many points other people get. But I'm really excited. Whoever wins, I don't think I'd really be disappointed with anyone who's left winning. And technically, everybody except for Sandra still has a chance. But everybody on Edge except for Natalie, I think, is kind of screwed. They may as well not even try, really. I mean, a triple advantage. What does that even mean? How much of an advantage is that? I was thinking like Jeff would just be like, okay, Natalie, she has 3 advantages, so she just has to walk over here. So as long as if you guys can do the challenge before she finishes walking over here, then you'll win. But otherwise, she wins. But I'm really excited. It's gonna be a 3-hour finale, and that'll be great. And I have no idea what the reunion part of it will be, if there even will be a reunion part. Maybe it'll be a huge amount of the show itself, and then just kind of like a recap check-in over Skype with everybody there at the end. That could be cool. I don't know. Well, we'll see how it all goes. And there you go. Let me know what you thought about this episode by tweeting me at TIW Podcast. Go to TIWpodcast.com for more reviews. If you enjoyed this episode or anything else on the site, please share some links with your friends. Subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, YouTube, wherever you like to listen. Stay safe out there in all of the infinite multiverses, and I'll see you next time here on TIW Podcast. Bye.